Hi there, welcome to Alma Brainy October webinar. I am Azrul and today I will cover the 5 phases of internal quality audit. My colleagues Mr. Lawrence will then continue from where I will stop. So basically, this webinar has 2 parts. Alright, let's start. There are 5 phases in auditing. The first one is the initiation, the second one is the preparation, followed by execution, reporting, and follow-up. For the phase 1, the initiation, the first thing to do is to appoint a lead auditor. You should establish initial contact with the auditee and check on the feasibility of the audit plan, and sometimes you may also want to check the request of the auditee if there is any. Audit is a planned interval, thus we may want to make use of the internal audit plan for these purposes. This is to avoid too many disruption in the existing operation. Lead auditor shall be responsible to form the entire audit team. Most importantly, the selected auditors must be competent. Here are the list of the required competency as outlined in IATF 16949. Number 1. Demonstrate the understanding of ISO 9001 and IATF 16949 standard. Number 2. Well-versed with core tool and risk-based thinking. Number 3. Well-versed with process risk analysis. Number 4. Understanding of CSR and product requirement. Number 5. Able to plan, conduct, report and close audit findings. And the last one, number 6. Meet the minimum number of audits per year. Second phase is the preparation. Once the annual audit plan is approved, you need to define the objectives to be accomplished. As an example, the audit is conducted to validate the effectiveness of management functions, or maybe it's for the risk mitigation, the continuity of supply, product realization, the most common one always, and many other purposes. Next is to define the scope. It is important to keep in mind what is your audit scope. This is to ensure you will not lose focus during the execution part. You also want to be clear on what the audit boundaries are. Example including the dates and time of the audits, the location of the audit, who are the auditors and the auditees, and the other resources needed for the audit. Lastly, you also want to prepare some useful toolkit for the auditors, such as the clipboards and pens, audit itinerary, audit report forms, relevant standard, example the ISO 9001, the IATF, or maybe the OSHA standard or ISO 14000, anything. You may also want to have process document beforehand, like the PFMA, the control plan, and something like that. Okay. Once everything is set, auditor can conduct the actual audit, which is called the execution phase. The first activity is to conduct an opening meeting. The discussion of this meeting shall include the agreement from all parties on the audit scope and approach. Introduce your team member, what method or procedure that you will use when executing the audit, and how you perform the grading. Obtaining information can be done via observation or interview or verification of records. When checking for the records, look at how it is maintained and the completeness or how far it is relevant with the current operation. In any audit, you may want to use these tips to ease the entire audit process. Example, you may want to introduce yourself to the auditee. Make them clear on the purposes of your visit. Develop a report. Ask open question. Avoid argument. This is very important. You must avoid argument. Check facts and remain objective. For phase 4, auditor will typically go through all the 6 activities that I will explain here. Firstly, finalize the finding with the audit team. Major NC is defined as an absence or a total breakdown in the system to meet requirement, while minor NC can be as simple as a non-compliance to any of the standard requirement. Next is to summarize the finding and submit to the lead auditors. Subsequently, lead auditor will initiate and conduct the closing meeting with auditees. You must resolve errors or any misunderstanding arises during the closing meeting. Finally, complete the audit report, and in the audit report, it must consist the following: the objective, the audit scope, the audit teams and the auditee, the date and the location, findings, any relevant evidence to support the finding, and lastly, of course, the conclusion of your audit. The last phase, which is the phase 5, is about following up. This is quite straightforward. auditor shall demand for a corrective action from the auditee, and if necessary, another round of audit to be taken to verify the suitability of the action taken. Alright, that's all the 5 phases in brief. If you have any question regarding what I have just explained, feel free to send your question to info@albrainy.com. And if you wish to watch the full video presentation, the first part and the second part, which will be done by Lawrence, feel free to log into our website www.almabrainy.com. Alright, thank you and stay tuned.